Hi, my name is EJ Massa. I've been sick recently and sick in bed, and that means I had the opportunity to check something out I wouldn't normally check out, which is the series Twin Peaks. I've never seen Twin Peaks. In fact, I've never really seen anything David Lynch has made, which is kind of like a blind spot in my cultural knowledge. Is David Lynch? People are always like, "Ooh, that's a David Lynchian scene," and I'm like, okay. And it's usually like a weird scene. First, I'm going to recap, some initial thoughts on the original series of Twin Peaks, and I'll move on to the revival series, which I also checked out the first 4 parts. So the original Twin Peaks, everybody was like, oh, it starts off great, the second season is shit, and they're kind of right. The first season is 8 episodes, and it's really solid. It's like almost perfect. What Twin Peaks is basically it's like a parody of primetime soap operas like from the 80s, but also it spins in this murder mystery, and it also has this humor, this quirky humor that they weave in. So it's all these conflicting things, this murder mystery, this soapy dialogue and acting, but also this naturalistic humor sometimes, and all this it comes together really well. Especially the first season is very tight, and it has some mysterious, almost supernatural aspects, but they're kind of a little more vague in the first season. The main character is Dale Cooper, Agent Dale Cooper, who comes in to try to solve this small town murder of Laura Palmer. And he's played by Kyle MacLachlan, who plays the mayor in Portlandia, who's an absolute revelation in that as well as this show.
Portland, you're so beautiful.
Agent Cooper, he kind of employs. He's like a he's like a chipper Sherlock Holmes, who he has intuition, and he also has this FBI code, the moral code that he lives by, and he also he even is humble enough to dip into some more spiritual aspects of solving crimes, which is very interesting. It's a very interesting mix of things that this Agent Cooper is, and I think that's what makes him so compelling. Is just he's so different, especially the past few years we've been watching all these anti-hero stories like Breaking Bad. So it's kind of nice to have this, for me, a change of pace where it's like, oh, this guy is he's just good, and he, I think maybe later you see some of the cracks in his good armor, but he, is outwardly chipper. He's, it's very refreshing. The melodrama stuff is also, it's fun, especially in the first season, because it feels like a parody. And then the second season, it kind of just feels like, oh, I guess this is what we are now. The second season does fall apart in that it doesn't know where to go once it solves the murder. And I think David Lynch also left the show, so they're probably dealing with that too. He left to make a movie. And the show also makes you fall in love with its cast of characters, and I think that's one of the high points. It introduces a lot of characters in the offset, but then you visit them enough, and you learn their quirks, and you learn how they incorporate in this tapestry of this small town, and I know that really, it's comforting, definitely comforting. So overall, even though I didn't grow up with Twin Peaks, the show, I really enjoyed it. I really did. Watching this show, I can see the DNA of a ton of different shows nowadays. Of course, the X-Files, but Fringe, even just the strong character work and the strong weaving of stories, the content, the following one mystery throughout. Strong mythology. Lost has a strong mythology, so I see that DNA in so many other shows, and you would think if you went back to Twin Peaks, like it would feel like it wouldn't feel as impactful, but it is. It's weird because it feels like every other show now, but it feels unlike every other show now. And it's maybe because Lynch, he took some risks that, especially the more surreal stuff that maybe people wouldn't normally do. So say you want to watch the new series, and there's so much Twin Peaks you don't know what to watch. I don't think you have to watch all of that. I think you should watch the first season, definitely. First season is A+. I think it's almost a required reading for most people who consume television on a daily basis and want to be informed. It's like, it is good. Then I would probably in the second season watch up to episode 9, where they kind of apprehend Laura's killer. Spoiler alert, I'm going to try to be as vague as possible, so if you want to see it. And then after that, you can probably just skip around if you want. Like, I don't think the rest of the season's that great. So just skip around, watch things in the background while you make dinner at that point. You don't have to watch it that closely. Watch the finale. You don't have to, you can skip all that, but you have to watch the finale to like get where the new series is going. And I don't think there's too much going on in that finale that you'd be too lost with. Maybe there's like, oh, why is Audrey chaining herself to a bank? But it doesn't matter. That stuff doesn't matter at all. It's the Dale Cooper stuff takes up most of that episode anyway, and that's the most interesting surreal stuff, and I liked it a lot. So I would watch season 1, first 9 episodes, skip around, watch the finale. Then also watch Firewalk with Me, which is the movie, which is kind of like a prequel, and it shows things from Laura Palmer's perspective. And I think that it's a great companion piece to the series, because in the original series you hear all the characters talk about Laura Palmer, but you don't, she doesn't get to speak for herself, and you don't get to see like the terror of things happening from her perspective. And I think the movie is so effective. It's almost one of the scarier films I've ever seen, just because you like, if you see the series, you know what happens, but you still are terrified every moment for this person, and you get to see things from her perspective, tell her own story. And I think it's a great companion piece and a required reading if you want to watch the new series. Now I'm going to talk about the new series, and I might talk about spoilers of Twin Peaks. So if you haven't seen Twin Peaks yet, watch it now. But I'm going to talk about the revival series, which may have some Twin Peaks spoilers. But with a lot of things with Twin Peaks, I could spoil something, but it's so obtuse that you kind of have to experience it for yourself. So the revival series is almost exactly what it needs to be. It's like going into it, I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know if it was just going to be like, oh, Dale's back in Twin Peaks solving another murder. I didn't know, but the ending of Twin Peaks, a doppelganger of Agent Cooper comes out of the Black Lodge and I guess starts living a life. And in the finale of Twin Peaks, Laura Palmer says, "See you in 25 years, Agent Cooper," or something of that nature. And so the implication there is that this evil doppelganger has 25 years to wreak havoc on Agent Cooper's life, and then he has to go back to the Black Lodge. And so it's kind of following the good Dale Cooper's escape from the lodge, and this bad Dale Cooper and his efforts to prevent himself from going back to the Black Lodge. That's what I think is happening. There's a lot of surreal stuff here. And the other week when I was talking about American Gods, I was talking about how it felt like there was just a lot of, scenes, and that there was a lot of things that felt like, just like, that didn't feel like they connected all that well, or they didn't go into a coherent story. It was a lot of world building for world building's sake, which I didn't really appreciate. But for some reason, with this Twin Peaks revival, it totally works for me. And this is coming from somebody who's, again, not very familiar with David Lynch and his surreal things. And I was very familiar with Brian Fuller's style. And so it's interesting that, I don't know, I was kind of bored by Brian Fuller's, but I was very excited by David Lynch's way of doing this narrative. Maybe because everything felt like, I don't know, one and the same thing. It was all coming toward a same purpose or goal, even though, you don't spend that much time in Twin Peaks. And when you do, it's fantastic. I loved seeing, Hawk again. I loved seeing Andy and Lucy. And it's not set in Twin Peaks. It's the third season of Twin Peaks, but it brought in Twin Peaks to the globe. And you have just so many wonderful, memorable scenes. Because that's the thing about Twin Peaks is that sticks out in people's minds, these memorable scenes, these memorable moments. Him talking to the dancing midget guy, him in the dream sequences, all these memorable, the quotes like, there was a fish in the percolator, and all these things. And I think this new series has it. It's, there's a scene where, a woman is trying to get people into her neighbor's apartment because it smells funny and there's probably a dead body in there, and there's like some Lynchian humor there that I think sticks out in my mind, will probably stay with me forever. So there's images that will probably stay with me forever. Even there's new characters and new scenes. So there's a part that takes place in New York where they're watching a box. This character's watching a box and waiting for something to happen. And it kind of feels almost like an allegory for, fans of Twin Peaks, like waiting for, Agent Dale Cooper to appear again. There are so many just great visual things. I'm not really sure what it all means, and I'm not even sure if it'll pay off. And I'm not sure if I care. And I don't know why I feel that way about this show and not in American Gods. I feel a little more frustrated, even though I think Twin Peaks is a little more obtuse, especially this third season is a little more obtuse than American Gods. In some ways, it's like going to a museum where there's a lot of like surrealist paintings, but they all have kind of like a similar theme. And you walk through and you're like, wow, I can sort of see what that means and the theme of it. But I don't know. I'm just gonna keep going. And maybe that's not a good analogy, but it's different. And I think just TV needs it. This is probably the most challenging television I've watched is this season of Twin Peaks. And I think television needs something that is artful, purposeful, has a lot of intention behind it, and isn't just like the anti-hero Breaking Bad ripoff or prestige TV is starting to feel a lot of the same. And I'm starting to feel that with Fargo season 3, where it's like, I like what's happening. It's very good, but it just feels the same. It feels this feels new. It feels new. It feels old. It feels surreal. So it just has excited me, even though I'm probably not doing a good job of exactly what it's doing effectively. Is exciting me. Some negatives are maybe things that are just like, it kind of feels sometimes a little bit too much like an independent film. There's some, I don't know if it's lazy lighting or if it's just like, the highlights will be blown out in some scenes, and it feels like I'm watching an independent movie, which is fine. There's a lot of good independent movies, but it doesn't have the same polish that all TV shows now have. So it's just success. It's very noticeable, and some of the effects look like they're very After Effects, like JPEGs sliding across the screen, but that also kind of adds to the weirdness to it. So it's also kind of pleasant. So it's hardly a knock against it. So anyway, I wholeheartedly recommend Twin Peaks, the Return, the Revival. What is it called? Twin Peaks: The Return. I wholeheartedly recommend Twin Peaks: The Return. If you just want something a little bit different, if you want to be a little bit challenged, and you want to see Kyle MacLachlan do a lobotomized version of Agent Cooper, it's something. It's something, and I'm intrigued. Strap me in. I'm in for the ride. Bye.